This is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital.
Hi, and welcome back to Strictly Business. My name is Melissa Roster, and I'm filling in for Nathan Ollie today. Aera Energy LLC recently opened a cutting-edge learning center called Aera Academy. While the facility is designed specifically for its employees, Aera Academy is more than just classroom learning. Joining us now is Kathy Miller with Aera Energy LLC and Stan Gomes, who is the director of Aera Academy. Thank you for coming.
Hello, good morning.
Yes. And kind of bear with me, I'm still kind of...
That's okay, we'll all wing this together.
Yeah, it's a little... haven't done this in a while. So I guess my first question is, what is Aera Academy and kind of what makes it unique?
So I'll kind of put it in a nutshell, and then maybe Stan can help fill in some of the detail. But really, in a nutshell, the Aera Academy is a 14,000 square foot learning facility for our employees. And what we wanted to do was create a place that really was more than, just a place to come and learn, but we really wanted to provide opportunities for our employees to collaborate and innovate together and really spend time in this facility where they can work as teams and really go through a much more advanced learning process than we've ever had before. And the facility really is kind of a one of a kind in Bakersfield. I don't think there's anything like it that I've seen.
Yeah, it's been a couple years in the making. Okay. We have quite a few employees that are reaching 2 to 5 years from retirement age, and so we see this big crew change coming. And so we've been spending the last couple of years really putting together processes that'll prepare us for that. So things like the mentoring process, how we onboard people in their first year, technical training. We have a lot of new engineers coming into the company, and then also we have a lot of new leaders, and so getting them ready, and so being able to take the learning and the training and the lean processes all under one academy is really helping us get prepared for that crew change.
That sounds fantastic. I know that's always good to be prepared, especially with things that are changing in the future. Yeah. So when did the facility officially open? I know we just helped host a ribbon cutting.
We did a ribbon cutting on February the 4th. So we've been open just a little over a month, and we actually opened the day before for our employees. And it was fantastic to see the feedback from our employees and the community members as they came through and really had that wow moment of this place is nothing like we've seen before. And that's really what we were striving to achieve.
That's some of the feedback that we got from our members that attended the ribbon cutting, they were just blown away by what the facility had to offer.
Yeah.
And I think some of them were kind of like, I wish my company had something similar to this as well.
It's pretty phenomenal.
And so who can use Aera Academy? Is it just open to Aera employees?
It is for our employees, but we were finding that there's a demand from people who want to take tours and want to come and learn about the oil industry. We've had other industry groups come in and use the facility for that, but it's designed for our employees.
Okay. And since it's opening, how has the facility been received? I know it's only been just a short month and it's been open, but how has employees received the facility?
Boy, I think it's been fantastic.
It's been really nice. In fact, the preview day, we have a big white wall across from our conference room, and people took the liberty of writing comments, and they were just really amazed and proud and excited, that the Academy
it was neat because those were really
place.
spontaneous, and people, nobody asked them to write. They were just walking by and would stop and write things, and it was really, really fabulous. And I think one of the comments I heard at the opening was, only Aera could pull this off, and whether that's true or not, I don't know, but we'll take the compliment. But it was really nice to have that feeling as you come into the space.
The other thing I've really seen is we're trying to drive collaboration through that facility, and I've seen a lot of examples since we've opened of people really using the space. So, for instance, a senior geologist brought a couple senior reservoir engineers, and they were looking at, we have a picture of a rock wall, is an outcrop, and it's of the Monterey Formation, and they're getting ready to complete a well. And the geologist was basically showing the reservoir engineers, here's what I'm talking about, and able to point at and visually show them.
Amazing.
So that was amazing. And then seeing a lot of our leaders bringing newer hires through and kind of showing them how we work in the community, what we're all about around the Aera way and our purpose and vision and values, and then showing them, the work that we do. It's been very beneficial so far.
Well, I know one thing we kind of touched on that. It's kind of a one of a kind, and I know you just touched on it that you have the rock wall that people could kind of look at. But I mean, I know it has like the traditional setting of classroom and chairs and computers, but what other elements is in there that makes it kind of more of innovative?
So I think it starts from the minute you walk into the space, and when you first arrive and you walk down the first hallway, on the wall is our purpose, vision, and values, and is the Aera way, the way we do business. And so when we're talking about having a bias for action or being part of something special or working with integrity and respect, we mean those things. And most companies have those kind of values, but we actually portray them through our work every day. And so the other side of that wall has all of our employees in action in the community. So doing volunteer work, you see them in various settings. All the organizations that we support are listed there. And that really starts to set forward, we want to be a respected community member. We want to be part of the communities where we operate. And that really sets the tone for the culture, I think, as you walk through that space. And that really starts it before you move into the learning space, which I'll let Stan touch on.
And when you get into the learning space, the first thing you see is really this huge picture of the Bell Ridge Field, from floor to ceiling. And it's 14-foot ceilings, and it's probably about 70 feet across. So it's a huge picture that you get the feel for all the activity, all the equipment, and what an oil field's really all about. We also have pictures that depict my career and how you move through your career with Aera. Our data systems and data flow, the input, the storage, and the output of the data, our safety processes. Our knowledge management strategy with the Academy. And then we have an area that's really around the life cycle of an oil field. So it starts with the geology, the rock wall that we talked about, and then moves through our reservoir modeling, our drilling and completion, our operations, and then to our abandonment where we bring the land back to its natural state.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so you can see the whole cycle.
And I love, they took the load-bearing pillars and turned them into basically a well bore. So you can see in this huge pillar like what the geology looks like, what's happening underground. So it's really a unique way when you're not in the field to actually see what happens underneath the ground and what does that well look like. And that well is depicted there.
And that's fantastic. And we're actually seeing some pictures that you sent over kind of popping up as we're talking.
There's the well right there.
So you can kind of see different things. That looks amazing, just to be able to kind of, like you said, to see kind of what goes on in an oil field. I mean,
well, that little pumping unit that's there in the center, I know there's a lot of people, who work in the office, so they're not in the field. But to be able to go and see, here's what a pump looks like, and here's what's happening underground, and how the oil actually comes to the surface, and that allows them to see that in a very hands-on way. So that's part of what we're trying to bring to our employees.
That's awesome, because I grew up. My dad worked out at the Bell Ridge Field, so
You've been there, you know that.
I've been there, yes. But why is it important for employees to learn in this way? Is kind of taking it from making them just sit in tables and chairs and sit in front of computers and kind of shifting the focus a little bit. What makes this unique?
Well, Stan, you want to take?
Yeah. So what we've learned is that people learn differently. Different people, So some can listen and learn. Some have to see things visually, and others have to actually get their hands on it. And so this brings all that together. So we get a really quality learning experience for the individual.
Oh, that's good.
Well, and I think as we're looking, it's a very technical industry that we're in, and we're trying to transfer some of that knowledge through our system, and to be able to do that in a very hands-on way and to meet the learner where they are, rather than just expecting everybody else to do well in a computer lab. It just doesn't cut it anymore. So this is really our investment in the future and making sure our employees have what they need.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that this was a couple years in the making. So what exactly went into, building this facility and kind of making it a reality?
The building was probably the easy part, huh?
That really was. Yeah. So we took a couple years and really thought through it. The first thing was getting the baseline processes in place, because we really didn't want a building without the processes, because then it really didn't mean much. And so we took time. We visited a lot of different industries and looked at their learning centers, learned all we could. And then once we made that decision, once we had the baseline processes in place and made the decision, then it was fairly quick. I mean, within a year from the design to the actual completion.
The actual construction actually took probably about, what did we say, less than 100 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it went very fast, but there was a lot of work that went into determining what needs to be there and what makes the most sense. And that's where the investment of the time was. we've been asked the question a lot, with oil prices being down, how can you justify investing in this right now? And it's like, how can we not invest in this right now? We'd been working at it for so long, and we're really looking at the long-term, viability of our employees and the company. And this is integral to that. And so I think this is really for the future.
And that's something that most businesses are starting to kind of take into account right now. So that's fantastic that you guys are kind of taking that look forward. And why is Aera Academy important to Aera and to its employees too? So why is this academy important?
Well, I think we've hit on that a little bit, but I think, as we go through this crew change that Stan described, is really seeing what can we be doing to make sure our employees can be the best employees that they, not only for now, but as we grow as a company. And so making sure that we're prepared to offer them that. And then I think really fostering the Aera culture, looking at, who we are and how we grow as a company is so vital. And we have a really unique culture that we definitely want to make sure continues into the future. And that's part of this too. It's kind of the home for all of those, the learning, the culture, all of that kind of comes to roost there.
Yeah. And we recognize the people are our company. And so they're the heart and soul of our company. And so that investment in them, we think is very necessary at this point.
Yeah, and I know you guys kind of touched on the Aera way, that's one of the first things that you walk in. For people that may not have been in this facility or may not know it, what is the Aera way and kind of what makes it important to your company?
So the Aera way and our purpose, vision, and values are really the heart and soul of the company. And when you talk about the Aera way, it's how we do business. So it's having a manufacturing mindset. It's looking at our information systems and data. It's looking at our culture. All of those things wrapped together. And really it takes all three components of that to really make our culture unique. We have a lot of companies from all over the world actually come in and try to emulate what we do. And without all of those components and being willing to commit to those, it just doesn't happen. So that, and then the purpose, vision, and value are really, really drive our business decisions. And so it's important for our employees to understand that from the very beginning about who Aera is as a company.
And I know you guys have also kind of touched on this as well too, but how do you see Aera Academy kind of maybe not only just supporting its employees in the future, but kind of growing with the company as it kind of, the future comes on?
Yeah, well, I guess the vision has always been get the first couple of years in, get the baseline processes in place, open the space, and start really with the crew change. After that, what we're thinking about is more around how do we bring innovation into play? How do we look at some of our bigger problems and issues in the company, and how do we help facilitate some of the problem solving that goes with that? So that's how we're growing. So it's more than just a training center or a learning center. It's really a center of excellence. That we're trying to grow.
And when we built it, we really looked at how it was be able to change with. We don't expect this to be up and stagnant. So the walls are vinyl covering. So when we're ready to change it, you take the vinyl down, you put up new vinyl. Some of the things are mounted on the wall, so you can put that plaque up, take that one off, put the next one up. So we don't anticipate that this is something that is going to stay the same all the time, because the company's not going to stay the same. The issues we face are not going to stay the same. So this is really an evolution as a learning center and as a company.
That's fantastic. I wish I had been there. So if somebody's interested in maybe taking a tour of the facility, is that something that they can do? They can maybe contact somebody?
Well, I think they can, obviously they can contact the Public Affairs Department at Aera, and we'd see if there's an opportunity to do that. We're not doing a lot of outside tours at this point. We may down the road, but it's really a center that's designed for our employees. But it is a great opportunity. We've had high school students come in who wanted to learn, the South High School Academy there, and they came in and learned about the oil field processes and really kind of took a tour of it. So I think it's a great tool for a lot of different groups.
That's fantastic. I look forward to kind of hearing more about it as we kind of.
Well, we'll look forward to having you over there.
I look forward. I was at a conference when the ribbon cutting happened, so I look forward to kind of getting in there and seeing kind of what everybody's been talking about. But thank you guys for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been an exciting journey for us.
I'm glad to hear that. All right, and up next we'll have the law offices of Young Wooldridge. Stay with us.